Hannah Kesler.
This gal started her own bank at the age of 18, and then you became a self-made millionaire by the age of 24?
I did.
Hannah Kesler is a money mentor.
She's known as the single millionaire chick.
With advice on how to stop living paycheck to paycheck.
Money. It starts with your mindset.
How you think about your money is going to greatly impact how much money that you have.
I grew up in a town called Olathe, Kansas. I'd be walking out of the door, going to school, and my mama would holler at me, "Hannah, make good choices." And I'd have to holler back, "Because the choices I make today will affect my future."
My parents, they did a very good job about teaching me as a child how to handle my money. We have a lack of understanding when it comes to money.
If you want your kids to have money, you need to start talking to them about it while they're young.
I'm really second generation to this concept that's called the infinite banking concept.
And at 18 years old, my dad gave me the choice to start my own bank that then led me to becoming a millionaire by the time I was 24.
Now you've written a book to help tie it all together.
So the companion is really just teaching kids that, not specifically money, but really important life lessons.
Now being the owner of the Money Multiplier, I help serve over 17,000 clients in every state of the country.
Where can people get the book?
HannahKesler.com. Hannah spelled the same way forwards and backwards, Kesler with one S.
Also, I got my podcast show, the Money Multiplier Podcast.
And make good choices today, because the choices you make today will affect your future. Good morning, my friends. How are we doing? Okay, let me say, y'all ain't my friends, because last week, holy crap, that video quality, I don't know what was going on, so I apologize about that, because on my side, it was clear as day. But I think because of the work that they're doing on my roof back at home, I think that maybe have caused a little bit of internet connection. So I apologize about that, but hopefully today you can see my pearly whites. Can you see them? Good morning. Good morning. Well, I'm super excited. We are actually here at Lake of the Ozarks this week. It's the 4th of July. Happy 4th, everybody. 250 years. This is exciting. So I took over Pops' office today to do the live stream. But look at my view. Can you kind of see it? This is why we love this lake house. We love the big windows. Super excited. We have a family coming into town tomorrow, and then my girlfriend's coming into town as well. Gonna hang out for a little bit, her and her husband. Some of y'all may know her, Sadie. She's a part of the application team over here at the Money Multiplier. But hey, I am here every Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, unless I say I'm not because of some travel plans. I'm still on the road doing live teaching events, doing webinars, podcasts, and different things. But I'm here every Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. And you can also check out the podcast show, the Money Multiplier Podcast, that launches every Tuesday. So you can check it out on YouTube or wherever you stream your podcast at. It goes out to all the different platforms. But today, I am going to get into a real life case study. One of our clients over here at the Money Multiplier. I know I mentioned last week that I wanted to get into more case studies for y'all so you can really see how other folks are utilizing their policies. This may not be your scenario, right? But I will say the majority of the people that show up at our front door, they're in debt. All right. I mean, 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck based on a Fidelity report. And that's even increasing each and every year. And I get it, right? Inflation, cost of living, what's happening right now within our economy. So a lot of the folks that show up at our front door, they're in debt. And a lot of it is this consumer debt because, not all debt is bad debt. But a lot of the times when your financial professionals are coming to you talking about your money and your dollars, they're essentially saying, hey, go and be debt free. Okay, yeah, I would love to be debt free. I don't want to owe anybody anything else besides myself, right? But I want y'all to kind of shift that perspective on the debt. And it's not so much getting the debt out of my life, it's how can I free up this cash flow that I'm sending to these third-party debt people. That's what I'm most interested in. I'll tell you, I just spoke with a gentleman this past week. He's sending out over $3,000 a month just in debt to paying off consumer debt, his student loans. He's got some personal loans. He's got a car loan. And that's well over $36,000 a year that he's just sending out to other people. And that's the payment itself. We can even get deeper into the volume of the interest that he's sending out to those third-party people. Because at the end of the day, you have to look at this as like a 30,000 foot view. I'm doing this because I want the control. I want the control over my life so that I'm not having to go out, work very, very hard to make my ends meet to pay these people every month. I would rather take back the control over my money and shift me working for my money to now having my money work for me. And this is where a lot of people start, as I mentioned, in the debt payoff, is using their policy, their whole life policy, okay? Because reminder, y'all, what we talk about over here all the time is what's called the infinite banking concept, how to become your own banker, and utilizing a properly structured whole life policy to have high immediate cash value so that I can utilize this policy for my banking, okay? Because at the end of the day, your money has to be stored somewhere. Where are you storing that money at? And the first goal, if we have this bad consumer debt, that's going to be our first goal, is paying off the debt. And then now, once the debt's paid off, how do I bridge this gap between the debt payoff to now wealth building? And that's really the next steps that we get into. And I've been also even thinking about doing some training material over the different stages. And I was thinking about it this way, when folks show up and they start implementing IBC, the infinite banking concept, we just call it IBC for short. But when they first start with IBC, they're in this crawling stage, okay? It's something that's new. It's different. It's not hard, in my opinion. It's just totally different from what we've been conventionally taught of how to handle our money. And y'all start off in this crawling phase. And what's nice, if you're a member over here at the Money Multiplier and you hold a policy with the Money Multiplier, you have your designated implementation agent who will help you and handhold you, truly coaching you how to fish so that then you can get to the next phase, which is the walking phase. And then now, once I get to the walking phase, let me go to my running phase. Running phase, building the capital, building the warehouse of wealth. How can I use this system to go buy myself cash flowing assets, the investments I want to buy to produce me more monies that come in till I get to the final stage, which is my flying stage. I don't have a stage after that. Now I'm thinking about it, maybe a teleportation stage, but But I have some ideas of, I wanted to do some training content on some of this stuff of the different stages. But as I mentioned, this is a real life individual. Something to note here in this example that I'm going to share with y'all. This individual is 74 years old. A lot of the times, especially when I was just out in Los Angeles, I had a conversation with somebody who's 75, and I even say it from stage. I say, hey, age is only a factor when it comes to the death benefit on this policy. That's the only thing that's going to change, is the death benefit when we're building the policy out. Age is only going to affect the death benefit. It's not going to affect your cash and the cash accumulation, the control, the liquidity, the protection that comes within this policy. Because no matter if you're 9 years old, financing and buying a bicycle, or you're 90 years old financing your retirement, you finance every single thing that you buy. You either give up the interest you could have earned on your money by paying cash for things, or you're paying out the interest to somebody else, aka you're bank financing it, and now you're taking those loans from the other financial institutions. And we just think that there's no other way to conduct this banking business within our life. So let's do a quick recap, okay? You want to be in 2 businesses in your lifetime. The first business is the one that you're passionate about, get you up out of bed every day, and hopefully you are passionate about it, okay? This life is too short to not be passionate and not feel excited to wake up every single day. But the first business is the one that supports your livelihood, supports the family, pays the bills, right? And then that second business is the banking business, the business that finances everything throughout your life. And that's what we here are talking about on the morning show and the Money Multiplier podcast, is that banking business in your life. What are you doing with your money? How are you spending it? Where are you storing it at? How are you investing it? Are there smarter ways that I could be conducting and financing for my purchases throughout this lifetime? So age is only a factor when it comes to the death benefit, okay? So this individual, they're 74 years old and they're starting their first policy, and they're using this system to pay off the debts that they do have. Now, before I get in here, I see some comments coming through. Misty, good morning. Fern, hey. Dexter, I see you on as well. Good morning, my friend. But let me go in here and let me share my screen with y'all, okay? Now, I don't want y'all to get overwhelmed with the numbers. All right, I'm going to break this down. I'm going to make it very easy, very simple. And for my folks on Instagram, I know it may be a little hard to see the chart. Hopefully it's not. But if you do want to pop over to my Facebook page or my YouTube page, even on LinkedIn, I live stream to there as well. You can blow this up and make it a little bit bigger, or send me an email, hannah@themoneymultiplier.com, and I'll send you a copy of this little screenshot here. So it is a screenshot. I just wanted to protect this person's identity, if you will. But hop over to those other channels. Now, there are different ways that we could go in and pay off these debts. A lot of the time when we're getting into this world of understanding our money and how can I be doing better with it, y'all are first introduced to what's called the debt snowball, okay? And we could do a debt snowball. And the debt snowball, what that means is we're lining up the debts that we have from the lowest balance to the highest balance. And most of the time, that's how we're using the policy to pay off the debt, is from the debt snowball. Because remember, I'm trying to free up the cash flow. That's what I'm looking at. I'm trying to free up this cash flow here. So debt snowball could be one way that I tackle on the debts. The second way of how I could tackle on the debts, some people call it the debt avalanche. And all debt avalanche means is paying off the highest interest rates first. So there's 2 different ways. And then, you can really get into it. There's even one called the cash flow index, which just is looking at the debts of, okay, which debt gives me the biggest monthly cash flow boost after it gets paid off. Okay, it kind of ties into the debt snowball, but it's almost like marrying the debt snowball with debt avalanche. There could be a smarter, more strategic way where you marry like both of them, highest interest rate versus the lowest balances, and categorizing the debts that way. But here's the thing. You don't have to do this all by yourself. I mean, you can, all right? But this is where your implementation agent at the Money Multiplier will help you. And this is where the vault will come into play. I know some of y'all, you follow my channels and you also follow my colleague, Chris Noggle, as well. And he has been talking a lot about the Vault and the Vault software that y'all have access to as being Money Multiplier members. And even if you're not a Money Multiplier member, you still have access to it, but then it is a paid thing. So TMM members, y'all get it for free, but it is a paid thing if you just want to do it outside and do it by yourself. And what your implementation agent will do is they'll walk you through and they'll run through the different examples of how can I tackle on this debt the easiest or the fastest, I should say, the fastest way to tackle on the debt. What is the best way? Now you'll notice up here, debt payment schedule. Oh, it won't let me highlight. There we go. Debt payment schedule, and it says debt avalanche. So what the software said is it said, hey, the fastest way for you, Mr. or Mrs. Client, to pay off this debt is by utilizing the debt avalanche. And let me map this out with the cash values from your policy, along with the payments that you're paying to the creditors, and how much can we recapture and how quickly can we pay off this debt. Let's get into the chart. Left-hand side, your payment number. All right, pretty easy, right? Payment number 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. Then you have the date of when this is going to happen. And we're starting right here in June of 2026. Just started their policy last month. Their payment, okay? This is their payment that they're going to be sending to the debt. I'm going to break this one down in a second. Recaptured is how much, once I paid off that debt, how much did I just recapture after that debt is paid off? So this is an important column that we're going to look at. And then cash value boost. This is the cash value that we're taking out of the policy. Okay. Now, given the only difference between you and this individual is y'all just have different debts, and the premium you decide to do inside of your policy may be different. But how we're using the policy, whether it's debt avalanche, debt snowball, it's going to operate the same exact way. How fast or how slow you want to go with this is really up to you. You could not go as fast, do less in premium towards your policy. It's just going to take you a little bit longer. Or if you want to be super aggressive, put more inside of your policy. Heck, even do a dump in into your policy. You could do a year 1 dump in. Now I'm thinking about it. That conversation I just had not too long ago is one guy's got over $150,000 sitting inside of his IRA. Yet he's got $134,000 of debt, and he's sending out $3,400 a month just to the debt. And it's like, this is what I keep preaching every single week, is that there's a difference between cash accumulation and cash flow. I understand that we do want to have some cash accumulation, but what I'm more interested in is how can I free up the cash flow, or how can I be producing more cash flow that's coming in? That's what I'm interested in. Anyways, back to our chart. So cash value boost. This is the cash that's coming out of our policy. Now, here's the debts that we have. We have a US Bank credit card. We have a Chase credit card, another Chase Freedom credit card. We have an Inc. business card. And then we got our Bank of America loan that's out here too. And in the percentages, you can see this is how much interest rate we're being charged. About 25% here, 19% here, 18% here, 16%, and then we got a 0% on the Bank of America one. And 0% credit cards are great, you know, like, hey, if I can leverage, again, not all debt is bad debt, but if I can leverage some free money, I'll go and leverage other people's money, because then it just frees up the capital in my policies or in my pocket that I could go be doing other things with. All right. The goal is not just to have debt free. I'm trying to really free up my cash flow, right? Okay. What we're going to do is this payment, this $13,730, this is what we're going to take to pay off debts. We take the 13 and we pay off US Bank. US Bank only had $1,600 left to pay. So we pay off US Bank and we pay Chase credit card down from 10,700 to 963. So now, because I paid off US Bank, they're done with me. I no longer have to send them my money. I'm going to take that $600 a month that I was sending to US Bank, and now I'm going to shift that and pay myself back inside of my policy. Now, let me break that down. When I'm teaching this live, I'm teaching this in a way that I'm showing the recaptured money after the debt gets paid off. And normally, how I teach this is take that 600 that you were paying to US Bank and now pay that back to your policy. Replenish that cash value. You're not working any harder by doing so, because you were already sending US Bank that 600 monthly payments. So now we're just redirecting the payments back to yourself in your policy. But here's the thing. But Hannah, I have more debts. Couldn't I just take that 600 a month I was sending to US Bank, snowball the debts down, and take that 600 and just add it to my monthly payment of what I got to pay for my next debt in line? So instead of sending Chase Bank the $450 each month, that's what they're paying, $450 each month. Now I'm going to pay them the $450 plus the $600 for a total of $1,050 a month to chunk away at that debt even more. And yes, you can. And most of the time, that's what I would recommend. But just for learning purposes, I just want to show y'all the monies that you're recapturing. Remember, goal is always about the cash flow. So now I just recaptured the $600 that I was sending to US Bank. Now, next month in July, I'm continuing to make my same payment. All right. They were already sending this $2,600 to the debts. So I'm going to make that payment, that $2,600, and I'm going to pay off my Chase credit card, pay off the Freedom credit card, and then pay down some on the Inc. business. So I'm paying it down from $15,800 to $15,400. Now what I'm going to do is take the payments I was sending to the Chase and the Freedom credit card, add it to what I was paying myself back, that $600, for a total of $1,400 that has now been recaptured from the debts. I'm paying myself the $1,400. I'm no longer sending them the $1,400. Let's continue on. We keep on going, making our monthly payments to our debts. $2,600 a month is what I'm sending them. And I'm continuing to make my $1,400 monthly payments, if you will, back to myself, back to my policy. I'm paying it to me rather than paying it to them. Now look right here in February of 2027, month 9, February of 2027, we have some premium that actually comes due, okay? We have premium that comes due, and so we are going to use the cash value again to now go and pay off and boost this debt that we have to pay. So the $5,700 plus the $2,600 that I'm already sending to the debt, I have a total of $8,305 that I'm going to go use to pay off my debt. I take the $8,305, scroll it over, follow my cursor here. At the Chase Inc. card, I had $4,369 as my balance. I'm going to pay them and pay them off. So Chase Inc. gets paid off and the Bank of America gets paid off as well. Now with the money that I was sending to Chase Inc. and Bank of America, redirecting those payments, now I'm paying myself back the $2,600 a month. Now look right here, okay? March of 2027, month 10 of the policy. month 10 of the policy, month 10 of you paying off the debts, right? This $2,600, follow my cursor, look at our very last column, policy loans. Look at our policy loans right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this $2,600 and start paying off my cash value loans inside of my policy. And she could do more, could she? I mean, could she like just go and dump in all of the cash value back inside of her policy, paying back the loans like in one go? Absolutely. And that's what she's going to do. She's going to treat her money with respect, because see, most of the time when people go and pay off their debt and they free up this $2,600 a month, now we just treat it like it's free spending money. We're not really looking at this as how can I now build my wealth with this money that I just freed up. A lot of the times y'all just start using it like it's free spending money now. And given, I don't want y'all to eat rice and beans until you're 65 years old. I mean, seriously, I like to live my life. I'm a fun girl over here. I like to go and hang out and do things, okay? But what I want y'all to do is just really be disciplined with this system and be disciplined with that money that you're now freeing up. Because with this $2,600 that she's paying herself back, now she's replenishing the cash value in the policy. How can I go and make other purchases? I can now use this system to pay my taxes. I'm going to start taking vacations. Maybe I'm going to utilize this system to supplement my income during retirement and start taking out tax-free monies from the policy. And that's what's going to supplement income and pay my bills during retirement. Go back and rewatch one of the last live streams where I got into tax-free income during retirement. If that is something that interests you, we did that episode not too long ago. But that's what she's doing, is she's going in here and she's simply replenishing the cash. And then you can see right here, month 16, September of 2027, with those $2,600 that she's sending back to the policy, she's completely now replenished her cash value, and she's got all of her money back inside of her policy that she can go do something with. Now, when we are paying back the policy loans, okay, so I'm going to say this for my IBC vets, okay? That's what I call y'all, my seasoned IBCers who've been around the campfire for some time. Like Misty, I know you have, Fur and Dexter, okay? A lot of the times y'all will ask me, Hannah, I'm a little concerned about my MEC limits. MEC, the modified endowment contract. I want to make sure that I don't turn this policy into that modified endowment contract. How do I know for certain when I'm paying myself back into the policy that I'm not going to hit those MEC limits? Let me just take this off the screen for a second. Just recap. What is the MEC? If you're kind of new, MEC, modified endowment contract. It's an IRS tax law. Picture it like it's an imaginary line inside of your policy. And what we don't want to do is we don't want to overstuff the policy to go over the MEC limit, because if we do, the government now is going to start looking at your policy like it's an investment rather than an insurance contract. And now they're going to want to start taxing you on it. And I don't want that. I want to keep all the tax-free growth, the benefits of this policy. In your policy, you will always, always, always be able to hold the principal of the loan amount that you've taken out. Adding my screen back to stage. Right here, or where's our highest balance? Right here, $17,000. You can notice that she's got at maximum $17,300 of cash value loaned out of her policy. She is always going to be able to put back that $17,300. That principal amount that you've taken out, you are always going to be able to put that back into the policy. But Hannah, you're telling me that I should be an honest banker and I should be paying myself back and charging myself interest. So instead of just sending this 17,300, what if I want to send a total of 20,000 back to my policy over the course of these next months? That extra money that you are paying back, that extra interest, all that extra interest is just more paid up additions, more paid up addition premium. And yes, that is going to move you closer to your MEC limits. Any extra monies that get inside the policy, that will move you closer to your MEC limits. So here's what we do. And this is where your implementation agent, y'all, they are there to support you. They are there to help you and be your go-to personal concierge of your helper, for lack of better words. So this is where we will ask the insurance companies, when you're paying yourself back, we're going to ask, hey, at this point in time, how much additional wiggle room do I have inside of my policy where I won't hit my MEC limits? MEC is a moving target, my friends. Every time that you pay premium inside of your policy, that MEC limit's going to move and get higher and higher as time goes on. So it's a moving target. And it's all based on the actuarial calculation, okay? People ask me, Hannah, how do they find this MEC limit number? Honestly, it's a complex little analysis that they do, and I don't really care to even know, but here's a high level. How I internalize how they figure out the MEC limit is you do not want that cash value to exceed the death benefit over the average of the next 7 years of death benefit. Because at the end of the day, and now it's more complex than that, okay? So people don't come after me. That's not the most technical term, but just to kind of give you an idea of how they calculate this, because your death benefit's a moving target as well. It's going to keep increasing. When you're working with a mutually owned insurance company that pays dividends, when those dividends go back as more paid up additions, that death benefit is going to continue to increase as time goes on. And so this MEC limit is going to continue to increase too. So all we got to do is we just call up to the insurance company and say, hey, how much additional wiggle room do I have inside my policy right now? And that I could dump in, street language, dump in and avoid hitting my MEC status. And then actuary will go run their calculation. They'll come back with a number to us. And in a perfect world, you will be able to dump in that money. You'll be able to dump in those extra dollars. But there is going to come a point in time where you got more capital on hand and you got more monies that you are sending back to yourself, and your policy just simply cannot hold it because you are going to hit that MEC limit. So this is when and why we start policy number 2. Okay, you see where I'm going with this? And it's never just about one policy. You're creating a system, a banking system, just like how Wells Fargo or Chase Bank has multiple branch offices, multiple locations. You can have multiple locations and branch offices of your own bank. And that's what it's about. It's never just that one bank, that one policy. Because as time goes on, hopefully we're making more money, our cash flow keeps increasing, that we have a need to want to warehouse more and more of these dollars inside of our policy. So this is why we're continuing to start more and more as time goes on, because your money has to be stored somewhere. Where are you putting that money at? How much cash flow is going towards that specific account? How much are you sending to other people's banks, and how much could you be sending to your own private bank where you are the one who makes the interest, the profits, the dividends on yourself, instead of those bankers making a good living off of you? That's what we're trying to shift, is the control and the storage over that money to have freedom, control, liberty to do what we want when we want. Now, as I was sitting here talking, I'm also thinking about, hey, why did the MEC limit even come into place? Let's kind of maybe talk about that. Quick little interruption though. Look at my cute mug today. My mama is a mug nerd like myself. And I love coming here because she's got all the fun, funky mugs with me. We got this in Vancouver, Canada. But here's something to kind of note. It's a little funny. This MEC limit, and when the IRS came into this new law, was back in June of 88. June of 88 is when they came in with this MEC law, modified endowment contract, section 7702 in the tax code, if you really want to dive into it. But they created this law because they noticed a lot of the elite and wealthy individuals were dumping in a boatload of money inside of their policies. Because think about it, if you're an individual, you want to store your money where it can grow tax-free, it is protected. The higher up your ass gets on the flagpole, the bigger the target it becomes. You want to protect your vault. You want to protect your wealth. They want the government out of their hair, the tax-free growth. They want the accessibility to use the money when they want for whatever they want, not have to ask for permission to use that money. And then also the legacy aspect of it. I know we don't talk about it a lot, but like death benefit, y'all, okay? Death benefit is important. It's the only guarantee of life. And when you pass away or graduate, there's always going to be that windfall of death benefit, tax-free, I'll add, that's going to get paid out to whoever you list as the beneficiary. And you can list your family members as beneficiaries. You can list charitable organizations like churches. You know, you can even list Billy Bob on the side street if you really want to. It doesn't matter, but there's always going to be a death benefit, and you can direct where you want that death benefit money to get paid out to. Heck, you can even do it into a trust, right? And that's even more steps that we could get into of, can a trust own a policy? Absolutely. It could even be the payer of your policy. It can even be the beneficiary of your policy. So there's different ways, and nobody's situation is one and the same, but at the same time, everybody is kind of one and the same, what they're doing with their cash flow and like how they're financing purchases. But some people have trusts, some don't, some have family members, children, some do not. And so that's where, you know, everybody's policy is set up a little bit differently based on who you are and what your priorities and goals are at the time. So this is really why they came out with this MEC law, because of those families dumping in a boatload of money. And Uncle Sam really wants a cut. In my opinion, they really want to cut. And to like how like the legal jargon of what they said is, we want to make sure that people are using life insurance policies for death benefit, not just for the cash value aspect of it and to go around the loophole of the tax code. But it's like, that's all my comments there. So that's why they created this law. And so that's why we got to make sure that, hey, where are MEC limits at, and any extras that I'm sending back to the policy, I want to make sure I understand where my MEC limits are at so I don't totally overstuff it. Now, given, even if you do try to overstuff your policy, there are precautions set up. Now, and I can only speak for the money multiplier, okay? But there's precautions set up where if somebody accidentally overfunds their policy too much and they hit those MEC limits, there will be a letter that is sent to that policy owner, and they copy in the agent, us over here at the Money Multiplier. And my dad actually purposely tried to do this one time, okay? He tried to purposely MEC a policy because he's like, I just want to see what happens if you try to purposely MEC it. So he overfunded it, sent in too much money. The insurance company sent him a letter back saying, hey, Brent, you told us you didn't want this policy to become a MEC. So if you really want it to become a MEC, sign your name here, send us back this letter. But if not, here's a return check and the amount of money that we could not hold. So there's always precautions set up there, because at the end of the day, these insurance companies, they don't want the government within their business. You know, they are their own private entities. They don't want other people meddling in with what they got going on. Insurance companies, these mutually owned companies, they are state regulated. They are regulated at the state level. Oh man, and that's like a whole other, my ADD brain is going down like, question I get, how do I know how stable these insurance companies are and what should I be looking at? So maybe that's an episode we can do at some point, but I can give you some resources too if you just want to reach out to me directly. But even just for my own personal, because y'all, I'm walking down the same road with you, okay? 8 of my own policies, like selfishly, I want to know what's going on with the insurance company. So I'm even over here doing my own due diligence, right? And that would be my biggest piece of feedback. If you're getting into the infinite banking concept, work with number one, in my opinion, work with somebody who is a certified Nelson Nash Institute's practitioner, NNI practitioner. And how you can find that, if you go to infinitebanking.org, there's a practitioner's finder there on their website. That would be my first recommendation. And then my second recommendation would be, make sure they are practicing what they're preaching, okay? Even if they aren't an NNI practitioner, I mean, it's a requirement if you are an NNI practitioner, so that's why I say that. But even if you don't go through somebody like that, make sure they are practicing what they're preaching, okay? It's like going to your doctor who doesn't do the same things that they're telling you to do, okay? You want to work with somebody who's practicing what they're preaching. And then my last advice would be, work with somebody who's going to be there with you, okay? Because I get it. Y'all are not in this world day in and day out like I am, okay? I understand the policies. I understand the insurance companies like the back of my hand. I've been around this stuff since I was 8 years old. But I understand that y'all are not in the same world as what I'm in. Given, I don't know if you run a tech shop and you're working on cars and motors all day. I don't know that world. Y'all are going to have to dumb that down to the 3rd grade education style. That's just not me. Okay. So I'm understanding that. And this is where and why it's so important to meet with your implementation agent. It's a free service that we do for all of y'all being a Money Multiplier member. Meet with them, connect with them. They're checking in with you quarterly for the life of the policy. So take advantage and use that, because if you know more and more about this, you'll get more clarity. You'll have more certainty over your next steps of what you should be doing with your money in your financial life. But I had one more thing I wanted to talk about. Now, let me say this too. I'm having some issues on the StreamYard where my personal Facebook page comments aren't popping up. So I want to hop over here to Facebook on my phone. With your comments aren't popping up. And I want to just make sure if there's any comments over here. Just Mike. Okay, good. Good. All right. We're going to fix that. We're going to fix that little tech glitch and tech issue. All right. Last thing I'm going to say. We actually got a letter in the mail from an insurance company. One of the insurance companies we do business with, which is Penn Mutual. Okay. Got a letter in the mail because we own policies with Penn Mutual. Yeah. And Penn Mutual sent out a letter that I just wanted to share with y'all that I thought was good. They said, let's talk about life insurance dividends and why they matter. Because life insurance dividends are different than maybe what you're familiar with in stock dividends, where technically, based on the tax code, a dividend on a life insurance contract is a quote unquote return of unused premium, a return of premium. And that return of premium gets sent back to us in a form of a dividend, is what they call it. And it's tax-free. It's a tax-free dividend that we receive because of how the IRS categorizes dividends as unused premiums. It's not gains, it's unused premiums. So let's read this letter. What are life insurance dividends? Life insurance dividends are payments made by an insurance company to eligible policyholders on an annual basis. And although they're never guaranteed, a company's ability to pay them says a lot about how financially strong they are. So dividends are important because, yes, you can see the mutually owned company's strength, And even consecutively, how long they've been paying out the dividends is important too. So they go, what is Penn Mutual's track record of paying dividends? We're proud to continue our over 175-year history of paying dividends to our eligible policyholders. This reflects how we continue to uphold our commitment to policyholders, our financial strength, and our position as a leader in life insurance. When we're financially strong, you're financially strong too. Penn Mutual is distributing a record dividend payout of $265 million to eligible policyholders in 2025. 175 consecutive years, my friends, they've been paying out dividends. There's other companies, they've been doing it for 140, 128. Just depends on how long that insurance company has been around. How long have they been consecutively paying out these dividends? And it's important. It's important to look at because when you go back through history and you see all of the times of economic distress, these insurance companies are still paying out these surplus and dividends. And it's like, what? How? Why are you guys doing that? How are you guys able to pay out that surplus to all of your policyholders when everything else is up in dumpster fire flames? And that's what led me to start the podcast show, the Money Multiplier Podcast, because I wanted to dive deeper into it. I then did some studying, started reading in on the Federal Reserve System, Austrian economics, fractional reserve lending, and the banking system that we have here in America. But I feel the safest keeping my wealth with the insurance company because, in my opinion, the only difference between a commercial bank and an insurance company, now, not the only difference, but in my eyes, the difference between them is the name on the front door. They're both places of where I can store and warehouse my wealth at. And I feel safer keeping my wealth with these mutually owned insurance companies that have been around since the late 1800s, early 1900s, and have continued to pay out those dividends, those surplus consecutively year after year and uphold their promises to their policyholders. So I'm talking specifically mutually owned companies, right? I think y'all know that by now. But just us over here, we do work with 6 different mutually owned companies. And I'm never married to any one company. You know, there's reasons why folks will go to one place over the other. Policy design, maybe they have health concerns, maybe their age, you know, like for instance, the example that we went through today, how this individual was able to pay off this debt. Because of her age being 74, we took this with a specific carrier because of her age. I like that carrier and their products and their policy designs better than some other ones for somebody who is in this stage of their life. So that's what really kind of pivots me to one carrier over the other. But at the end of the day, there are some people who come to me and say, Hannah, I absolutely need to have this company because they're like the brand name company, right? You see them at the ball fields, you see their commercials up there on television. But these are all great, strong, mutually owned companies. Some are bigger than others, absolutely, but they're all practicing the same principles and habits together. So that is really all I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to show y'all a real life example. Pay off your debt smarter, okay, rather than harder. We're not just going to withdraw the cash value from we're not just going to withdraw the cash from our checking and banking accounts to go and pay off the debts directly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flow the money through the policy first and then take out the cash value. And reason why, when that money hits the policy first, now starts the time clock of the uninterrupted compounding that I'm going to get on that dollar for the rest of my life. That's what I want. I'm trying to get on the right side of compound interest and start getting my opportunity cost of my money positioned correctly. So I'm not taking one step forward, 2 steps back. It's all about the cash flow. It's about remaining liquid. And it's truly about recapturing the money that you're already spending. How can I spend my money, but then save my money at the same time? So other than that, that's all my thoughts for this morning. If you want to have a one-on-one conversation, reach out to me, send me an email, Hannah spelled the same ways, forwards and backwards, hannah@themoneymultiplier.com. We can get connected one-on-one, go through your exact numbers, what you got going on. And it's not just for debt payoff, right? We've done live streams talking about using it for investments, using it for large purchases, college, wedding, cars, houses. So anything and everything that you're buying in life, how can you turn that depreciating asset or that liability into an appreciating asset? That's what we're focused on. But have a wonderful 4th, my friends. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be sitting my butt on the boat. I'm going to be singing some country tunes. I'm going to be learning line dancing. I really want to learn line dancing. I've been playing some YouTube videos trying to learn it. Because get this, I was out in Los Angeles and we went to some country bars, me and Rachel. And they were all line dancing. And even some guys came up to me. They're like, "Can I have this dance?" And I was like, "No, because I'm going to look like an idiot out there because I don't know how to line dance. I don't know how to do all that." So I'm like, okay, I want to learn. I want to learn how to line dance. So anyways, maybe that's what I'll be doing this weekend. We're going to be playing some cornhole. And we have the prime location because right across the cove, this is kind of sad though. Right across the cove is a family. The wife is very sick right now. And they put on an amazing fireworks display. But this is probably going to be their last year. So they're going in and doing a big old shebang of a show. And the neighbors are all going to come over. We're going to hang out on the dock and just watch the fireworks display. But please be safe, my friends. Okay, be safe. Have fun. Hang out with your friends and your family. And I will see y'all probably next Thursday. Next Thursday, I'm going to be coming to you from Boston, Massachusetts. We'll be out there. And I think I'll be coming to you. If not, I'll be making a post about it. But I should be on, okay? It just depends on my meetings I got up there in Boston. But I love y'all. Do well. Be safe. And until next time. Mwah. See you next week.